Didn't realize Terry was. I didn't think Terry could get on to the into the program yet.
I don't know.
Anyway, I just did, before I got on the phone with you, I just did get off the phone with one of the head guys up at Midwest Data, and he's going to track down why these offices can't get logged on to the server and see the icon so they can get into the program.
Well, Mike can get in. It just won't let him save anything.
Right, and that's the same way with Barb's computer up in Hamburg.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
I've never seen that happen before.
So I've been emailing with an Andy and giving him all the numbers for the Midwest Data people because he thinks there's some file that's they're not seeing or something. It's over my head.
Listen, Danny, just put the text together and they can talk that language.
That's what I did. I gave him all the numbers and the people's names and let him go.
Yeah. Let them sort all that out. That's beyond me.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you understand my answer about the commissions?
Yes, and I found that perfect after you told me to check that, hit that button at the bottom of the producer box.
So that works out for you?
That works out.
Great. I guess you saw the email from Jim about the MI-assist table files and all that.
Yeah, I haven't had time to get too worried and upset about that yet. That'll come later today.
Except for the people attending the meeting. Now you're scheduling your panic attacks.
Yeah, I am. I don't have time to deal with it now. I'll panic about that later.
You'll be like Scarlett O'Hara. I'll think about that tomorrow.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Milker? Yes, huh? Not one back here. I only have two.
Okay, you guys getting all settled over there in Trenton?
Yeah, we're settled.
Okay. You're making a lot of noise.
That's Aaron. That was Aaron.
Okay.
Invading our meeting food. Okay. All right. Well, Danny, you're the presenter, so we see your screen. So
Okay.
if you would log into the system, and then if you would also give keyboard and mouse control on the side of the GoToMeeting, there's a little icon with a computer mouse button.
I think I did that.
All right. Would you try it again? I don't seem to have keyboard.
I did show. You can see my screen, right?
I can see your screen. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. So everybody can press the arrow at the top of the GoToMeeting panel, and it will push that panel to the side. It'll get it off the screen.
What should we be seeing right now?
Well, she can get out of this email and pull up agency systems.
I've got it up on my screen. Is it not showing up on your guys's?
No.
No. Do you look at your GoToMeeting and see if the screen is paused.
Okay.
Open your panel back up and see if it is paused.
Well, let's see.
Yeah, now we see the screen.
Okay.
Okay, guys. At this point, if you've been navigating through the system or you've attended any of the training sessions, you should be able to navigate, search by keyword, search for a policy number, add a client or prospect, add a client, a contact on the client, and add a policy. So has everybody tried to do that?
They have not. This is the first meeting that we've gotten their computers to work. So I will work with them sometime on this and kind of walk them through how to do that stuff, or they can watch those videos.
Okay. Do you want me to just give you like a 5-minute overview?
That'd be great if you've got time.
Yeah. I think you're the last one for my day. Let me check and see if I've got anybody afterwards. So I make sure that I have. Yep, you're it. Okay, so this is kind of the overview of the system. It's not going to be as in-depth as we did initially, but, you know, it'll get you going when you actually can log in. Now, first of all, Danny will show you how to log in. And so you log into your remote, and then you find the apple. Somebody said, well, it doesn't look like an apple. Well, it's an apple with a big hole in it. And then you just, this will pop up. And whatever your agency number is, Danny, what are the different agency numbers? There's
they will strictly be 01.
Okay, so you guys will be 01. And then your operator ID is typically your initials, but Danny will tell you what that is. She will also tell you what your password is. And then the screen will kind of go away. And for about 20 seconds, you will think that it's not doing anything. But it truly is. It will think about it. And then what happens is the system appears like this. And when you log in, this is what you see. You see a follow-up list. We call it a to-do tab. The item number is assigned by the system, and it's actually the date that you created it. It's a backward date. So these item numbers are converted. But when you create a new diary or suspense, then it is actually an item number that is the actual date. So the date that you would see was 12 for the year. The next two digits are the month, and the next two digits are the day, and then 001, 002 as you add on the item numbers during the day. So that's your to-do or follow-up list. You can sort them. One of the rules about agency system is anytime you see a list, you can sort it by the heading on the list. So somebody just click on the word description right here. Just click on description. Everybody's got keyboards, so whoever wants to try. It puts it in alphabetical order depending on what the description begins with. Same thing is true for policy number, insured name, and so forth. So any of the headings on any list that you see, whether it's a to-do list, a driver's list, a vehicle list, a policy list, any kind of list can be sorted by the headings no matter what it is in the system. So that's kind of number one rule. You can sort things by list. And then you can double-click on one of these items. So somebody double-click on it. It actually opens up the item. You can change the date from here. You see it's sitting there at the suspense date. You can add more notes. I talked to the client. He's still thinking about the quote, blah, 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 blah. So you can work your follow-ups just by looking at this list. All right, let's X out here. You can also go directly to the client by opening client. As you look through these, you can see the notes that are in each one if you look below. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
Okay. You can move the date forward. You can just move the date forward and save it. And when you've finalized it, let's say that this quote, you can say that this was finalized and blah, blah, blah. You don't delete these items. You just simply close them. They don't disappear. They are actually on the client. So let's go to that client. See, it's no longer on the active diary list. Since we closed it, it goes to a list down here on the bottom where it says diary, and you can see all the closed and open diaries here. Let's say I closed this one by mistake. I simply just double-click, click on the closed area, choose the open status and save it. And now, when I go back to my basic screen and refresh, it is now on my active diaries or active follow-ups again. One other thing about your to-do list is you can assign it to somebody else. Mike was in my class this morning. He didn't like this one. He said he didn't want Courtney to know how to do that. So you can actually send this to somebody else. Now, I may not know all the codes, so you just simply put your cursor where it says Danny, and what is the rule about the list?
You can sort it.
You can sort it by the headings, so you can sort it by the name, or the code, or the number code. So you could change it to someone else, and now that would be on their follow-up list. You can also email them from here. All you'd have to do is put the client's name here, and their email would pop up automatically because it will be corrected in your profiles after you go live. And then you just send that out. Not only does it put it on their to-do list, it actually sends them an email. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Okay? So that's the follow-up. Then you have 4 tabs here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some people think it's the last 4 clients that you looked at, but that's not true. This is the clients that you choose to be up there. So if you've got a VIP account, or you've got somebody that you're working a claim, or something that you just want to stay up there for today or a week or whatever, you just throw it up on one of the tabs and leave it there all the time, and then just go to the other ones and replace those as needed. Let's talk about the search feature. You need to highlight the one that you're going to replace and click on the word search. Somebody type in Broadway for me. Now, you don't have to type in the whole word if you can see it in the list. So choose Broadway from the list and click search. You see that now this is all the people that live on Broadway. So it's any part of the name or the address. Let's take out Broadway and put in 310, 310, and click on search. Everything that has 310 in it is going to be pulled up. It could be mostly anything. So you want to be fairly specific when you're looking for something, but it will even find it by the phone number. So if there's a phone number in the system, let's try to put a phone number in. So if somebody has their personal policy or somebody, no dashes or anything, you just simply type in the phone number and click on search. Highlight it, and it takes you right to the client. You can also search by a policy number. So click on policy search up here. That's keyword search.
Oh, sorry.
Click on policy search. It doesn't have to have the prefix to the policy. So put in 71601 and click on search. It's going to find the string of numbers. So the more numbers you put in there, the closer it's going to be. And if you start highlighting them, you're going to find the one you want. Okay? You see right here that we are automatically hiding the inactive policies that have been expired for more than 3 months. This says that there's 2 policies hidden. If I uncheck this, those are now on the list. So does somebody know of an inactive client?
I'm trying to think of one now.
Well, there's 3 clients here that are hidden. We search for this. All we have to do is uncheck, and you can see that it's hiding these clients. So to find an inactive client, you would have to uncheck that button.
So you said the system, after 3 months of it'll automatically go to an inactive client?
No. Policies will. When you search for an active or inactive insured or named insured, it's based right here on this active or inactive, and it is a manual entry. You manually manage active and inactive accounts. Okay, good question. Thank you. All right, so let's say I wanted to work on Danny, but I get another phone call, so I just go to the next and click on something and just type in a name and search and go to the next one. So you can have many clients open up here and be working several clients at the same time. So just by clicking here, you're going to travel through the system. Okay, any questions about that? Everybody okay?
Yeah.
Okay. This tab out here is the company tab. When you log into this, you're not going to have names on any of these tabs. It might say sample client, or it might say not on file or something. Just click on the tabs and search and fill it in, and then they will have names on them after that. Now, we looked at the allied group, but on your company tab, it'll just say company. And so you'll have to search for a company. If you're searching for anywhere in the system, all you have to do is 2 things. If you see a field like this and a name, all you have to do is to click on allied group. So somebody click on allied group for me. It brings up a list, and you can sort it by the heading, so you can click there and scroll down through there. Now, if you get to the bottom of the list and they're not on your list, you say, well, what happened here? Well, it stopped at ing because it only loads 100 at a time. So that was 101. We just load more. There's 188 companies. And load some more. And that's all of them. So you have 218 companies that are marked active. We're looking at allied group. So this would be all of the contacts for allied. You can also see that this website has been put in, and this will act as a favorite button. So if you click on website, it will take you to the website. These are the converted items here that were on in the conversion, but see, this one's blank. So I would just edit this one and delete it to help, and then you just refresh it and then go to the next one. So you can clean this up after you go live.
So you got all these, under these contacts, all of these came from our Instar, right?
Yes, ma'am, that's what I understand.
Okay.
Okay? So you can see Sonia here, and here's the problem I have with this. She has no title. She has no phone number. She has no extension. So I don't know what Sonia does. I don't know what part of the business I need to contact her on. Or maybe I'm trying to, place a piece of business, and she might be the very one that I need to talk to. So please round out. This is my only a suggestion, but round it out with phone numbers and extensions. Cell phones, if they give it, always give everybody a title, and of course get their email. So this would be true for everybody. This one has a phone number and an email. I still don't know what he does. So if I were you,
I think some of those came over from that MI assist.
Could be. Could very well be.
Scroll up. Can you, let's see, try Jill Mock, or let's see, up there at the top, let's try Gary Combs, see if he has. So yeah, I'm going to have to do some work because some of this stuff may not be coming over.
Well, that would be a reportable item to Jim to see if he can do it in the conversion rather than you cleaning all this up.
Right. That's one area I hadn't been to yet, so I'm going to make a note of that.
See, this says commercial underwriter or
Okay.
writing, and it has a fax number and so forth. So that may make perfect sense to everybody. But most of these guys, it doesn't look like has a title. And if you were looking for a personal lines or commercial lines or a work comp underwriter or, you know, whatever it is, it would get pretty confusing.
Yep, I'll have to look at that more closely.
Okay. Also, if you go to any company tab and you click on active policy, you're going to get a list of active policies. And what's the rule about the list?
You can sort by the heading.
You can sort by the heading. So you can sort by the class code. Danny's aware of these that say not on file, and those are conversion issues that Danny's working on. But it's also a quick way of seeing what's coming up for renewal without running a bunch of reports. So if you wanted a quick snapshot, you could see what's coming up this week or in the next few weeks. So that's a good thing. You can also, part of the training today was to teach you about attachments and emails. So if you had an underwriting guide that you wanted to attach to Allied and you wanted it in here maybe for homeowners underwriting guide or personal lines underwriting guide or something like that, you could certainly do so. So all you would do is to click on attachment, and we created one this morning. It's not really an underwriting guide, but we did attach it, and so it just attached. So this is an idea just on the company tab, so you can have underwriting guides. You know, what else would you use it for, Danny?
Oh, boy, I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head.
Now this would be company specific, not client specific. Just for the company information.
You can print it off, right?
You can print it off.
Yeah,
If you've got dual screens, you can throw it up on one screen and look at your other screen.
we can put our company forms under there that are...
You can put your company supplemental forms under there. You sure could. That would be a great place to park them.
Or sometimes, like you guys have some companies that you don't do applications online, you could keep your blank applications over here so you could find them real easy.
That's right. And if I think if you have PDF Writer, it's an Adobe Writer, you can actually write on forms and stuff, but you would have to have PDF Writer. Otherwise, you just have to print it and, you know, type it, or if you got a typewriter anymore, if anybody ever has a typewriter, but PDF Writer would allow you to do that. So that's the attachments on the company. Very good information. Also, you can create a memo, which is just like a Word document, and you could create your own underwriting guideline or your own forms of, you know, whatever you want to create under here, and it would be something that you could lock down and have merge fields and so forth. That's on the company level. You can do some of the same kind of things on the client level. So if I'm going to, well, let me go through just the basic navigation. The client, the contacts can be edited here or add a new contact here. Everybody needs a title. So this says Charles and Patricia, and we don't like backwards names in our system, so we might say that this is for Charles. Doesn't matter, we don't have much information in here anyway. But let's say that Charles is the primary contact. I would clean this up like this. I would say that he's the primary contact. He's the one that I want to call every time. Everybody knows that now. And he would have an email address. This is where you start to get the bang for the buck of using a system that has the capability of email in and out of the system. If you wrote a homeowner's and you want a birthday list for this guy, you could put it in the contact and you could run a birthday list. So for producers, that's a good thing if you wanted to run a birthday list. But it would have to be in the contact or a personal lines driver.
Is that information that's already on our system going to go over on these?
Hopefully, Penny. I have to check all your data yet. I haven't got to it yet to see how it's going to pull over.
Okay.
Good question. But what you see right now is what you're going to get as Danny works through this conversion. So she and Jim are working very closely together to get it as good as we can possibly make it. But as it looks today, this is what it's going to look like. All right, so up here in the client, you can edit this to make any changes on the client level. This is the detail tab. This is how I would mark a client inactive if we lost all their business, or if I didn't want to make him an inactive client, I could make him a prospect. Okay? The client notes are for those profiling kind of notes. So if I lost their business, I might say he went out of business or he sold his business. It's for a profile type of note for a client. It's really not for, it wasn't really designed for the day-to-day policy notes and things that you want to document on a policy, but it is there and it is a permanent record. So once you create them, you can't delete them. So there's no sticky notes in our system. We talked about an active diary, and you can create a diary that's not attached to a policy. Let's say that I wanted to create a diary, but I wanted to follow up on an umbrella. I could say umbrella. It helps if you can type. Okay, that might be something that you might create a diary for a client. I can't attach it to a policy because he doesn't have an umbrella policy, so I attach it to just the client. See, there's no policy to attach it to. I can see notes. And add notes. After I add the notes, it has a hover feature. So I don't even have to drill down into it to see the notes. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yep.
The activities are things that you're creating in the system, or the system is saving all the activity. Now, it has an automatic filter. It is only filtering for attachments and policy activity notes that you create. But if you right-click and I look at all items and I click on refresh and I open this activity button, you can see that I edited the contact. Here's where I created a diary or an item number. And this is where I edited the item. So everything that an operator is doing is is noted in activities. You can see the operator's ID, the date, and even the time. It stamps it with the time that this person made this change to this client. So it's tracking everything that a person does on the client level. These are active policies. First time I pulled up this, and one of our policies was missing. Now, I knew that he had another policy. And so the first thing I did was I called Cheryl. Cheryl's in our support team. She and I got to be best buddies when I was an agent. So I called Cheryl, and she explained to me that this is exactly what it says. It's an active policy list. So if a policy expires, it's not going to be on this list. It's going down to this list on the bottom. Here are all the policies, open, expired, and current. So who is a customer that has a whole lot of policies?
Okay.
Danny?
Yeah, you can flip back over to my tab because I've got about everything.
Let's look at Danny's policies. You can see that I can sort it by a list, and I can see that she had one back in 2010, and these are 2012 and 13. So this has all the policies in your conversion data, and so this is your history on those policies. This is what we call the basic screen. You will hear me during training. Go back to the basic. You'll hear that on the videos constantly. Go back to the basic screen. It's called basic because it's down here. And this is the account ledger. This is the accounting for this client. This is just another way to see activity notes. If you track claims, you can see that these converted. And you can drill down. You can expand all of them, I think. So you can drill down to each one of those things, and you can see if they're open or closed. If you click print, it just prints the list for you, for a client. So you can do that quickly just on this claims tab. The diary has all the open and closed diaries. And since it's a list, you can sort it by the headings. So Danny, we talked a little bit this morning about a methodology to name things like attachments and the subjects of email so that it is consistent from desk to desk and from office to office. So if somebody had to fill in because somebody's out on vacation or somebody has to fill in for a medical leave or something, that when you're working someone's file, it's going to look exactly like you work your own file. So you can see that the prefixes to things sort by list. If we go back to our basic screen and we open up your attachments and you click on description, you can see that it sorts it in alphabetical order. These words are searchable. So if this says email, I mean, I wouldn't put that. I mean, it probably worked fine in your old system, and this goes back to 2008. I certainly wouldn't go back and re-describe or put in new descriptions, but moving forward, you might want to consider a new methodology of naming things.
I think that email came from the conversion.
Right, it does.
Yeah.
All right, so this says, what does this say? 302?
Back, yeah, first back. I think what's happened here is in STAR we have two separate description screens, and I think it pulled, we have one that we did like whether it was an application, a picture, a change request, whatever, and then in the next one we put more description as to, like that one probably said picture, and then in the second description box says 302 First Street front.
Yeah, and the one we worked with this morning, all of theirs said photo. You didn't know if it was the front, the back, the side. or what it was or what the street was. It just said photo.
Right. Yeah. That's one of those things where I need to work on a manual someday.
Well, until you get your manual, you can say 15th Street in your search activity button and press enter. And it's going to find those things. Well, maybe I typed it in wrong. Let's say back. It's going to find everything with the word back. It's stored permanently in activities, okay? And based on your level of security, you could remove the link, but you cannot remove the link or the activity. So
Okay.
It's permanently embedded into the activity, and it can be manipulated in the attachments. That's why it's in two places.
Okay.
So, hey, Danny, what she's saying then, like if I put in a picture and I put, like, say, I put the address on the first box and the second one I did pictures, now it's going to be in there twice.
Well, ours only gives you one shot. You have one way to describe it.
Right, and I think it picked up, I'm going to have to do a little research on this, but I think, Penny, that it picked up whatever we put in that second box.
Okay. Because in my second box usually was picture.
Right, and so we'll have to work on some of that going forward and change the way we do it from now.
Okay.
We do now.
Yeah. What I would suggest is always attach it to the policy so you would know the policy number. You see here we've got some that are attached to a policy and these two are not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's number one. I always attach things to a policy. Number two is I would tell what kind of policy it is. Dwelling, fire, homeowners, automobile, and then you can sort it together by the class of business. So if you put a prefix on your descriptions, then you can find those pretty easily. Let's put in 302 and see if this is going to work. So 302 finds these things that are 302 in the activities, and it also is redundant down here because it's an attachment also. So you can find things and filter them down that way. Okay, so this is the active policy list, and this is the drivers and the equipment, vehicles, and property. These come through your download, and this is exactly what they're going to look like going forward. You can, the download will add things, but it won't mark things inactive. Let's say Danny sold a vehicle. Let's say she got rid of this vehicle right here. The download would add a new vehicle, but it's not going to take this one off, and I would never take them off. That would just be my suggestion. I would just put a little note like this and mark it inactive. Okay? So it's no longer going to be on the active list. If I edit the client and I go to detail, it's going to be here under the vehicles because I've got a little button that says hide inactive. If she got the motor running again, I would just come in here and take it back off. The download won't create it again if it finds the vehicle. If it doesn't find the vehicle, it will add another one. This is your letters. We'll create some templates and with merge fields. And so are there standard letters that you create now?
Yeah.
You can have a new business letter, an endorsement letter, a welcome letter, a proposal of some sort. I helped a gentleman this afternoon create a proposal with some merge fields and stuff because he does a lot of E&S business, and he wanted to do a proposal on some sort of towing or something. So we created those templates with merge fields. And then this is the email, and we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to talk about attachments.
Going back to the letters, let's say Michelle does a letter. Does all of us have her letter, or is it just on her still?
Nope, it's all right here. So let's say that we create an item. This is your workflow area. So this is where you begin to create items. This is where you would create a memo. You would go up to File, Open, Library, there's nothing in your library.
No, I haven't got any made yet.
Yeah, but we had some in our template, so I'm really surprised. File, Open. There's nothing in your library. That's very unusual. I'll have to ask why. But anyway, we can create templates and everything that would merge the fields. Let me create one real quick, so you can kind of see what it does. And it's going to create all of these after you go live. So you've got a lot to do. So this would have your letterhead and so forth on it. It would have the date up here. Have your letterhead up here at the top. We'll have the date inserted. All right, we'll say dear, and then we'll say sincerely. Now, typically we have some information in these, and I don't have to do this. Okay, this will give you an idea of what it'll do. So you can create all sorts of things like this. You'd have your letterhead on here also. So now when we go into a client, you would find the policy that you want to write a letter on. You would just simply click on the policy. You would go to create an item and go down to memo. From here, you would just go to File and Open, and there's a plus sign beside the library, and it says letterhead. So here's a blank letter. All I have to do is right-click and merge, and it's going to pull in the information of the client that I'm on. It's completely editable. So I can type in anything I want, but you see that it pulls in the information. Now, I don't like the way this tabbed over, so I could correct that in my master template, okay? Now, I can print this, or I can email it. I can email it as a document, which is the body of the email. See, it becomes the body of the email, and I can edit any of that. Or I can, and that's just a policy log to create more notes. But if you mail it as a PDF, it becomes an attachment down here. So we can also create templates for other things. Let's say that we wanted to create a template that says, please, does anybody here do certificates or auto ID cards?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would do is I would just go to File and lock this down and save this back to my library. And this would now be my auto ID card. And this would be under email category. All right. So now when I send that auto ID card out, all I have to do is to go to batch print. When I get to my email, I just choose my template. So I never have to type that again. And then from here, it will have my signature. So it would have Elaine Davis, whatever Danny puts in post live, it would have everybody's Outlook signature. Could even have a logo, it could have a disclaimer, but it will be personal. It will be your name and address and phone number and so forth. Okay?
Okay.
And then the email would be attached to this client. So you can email documents. You can email attachments. So you can email any kind of form that is either an attachment or an accord form. You can also drag and drop emails to a client. So Danny, if you would open up your Outlook. Okay, now when you have two screens, this works really good. But when we're working with one screen, we have to kind of squirrel it down like this. Let's say that I need to add this email to this policy. This policy needs to be open. So all I did was I clicked on the policy that I want to add it on, okay? And I just take this and I drag it up there to anywhere in that box. So somebody try that for me. And drop it. Now here is where you can change your description, because your description, the words on your description are sortable and searchable, right? So you can click on description here. Here's where you can rename or edit the description so that it makes more sense to everybody in the agency. Otherwise, it's going to say just this. When I say OK here and I exit, it is now attached to that policy. Is that easy or what?
That's something you guys need to work on. That way then you'll have everything you get back from the companies in the program attached to the client and the policy.
That's critical. That's absolutely critical. Every email that you send to a company should start within the system. Only the replies that come back from the underwriters would have to be dragged and dropped in. Okay. Danny, do you have something that has an attachment on it?
Yes, actually, let me go back down here because Andy sent me those requests that we need to, if that's not it, sorry.
Okay.
Trying to find which one it was because he sent me all those where we needed to, this one should have an attachment to it.
Okay, so just open it up. Okay, scroll it down. Okay, so this one has a signature. You see that? And I don't care if this is on the system or not. What I care about is this attachment. It could be a copy of a policy or a claims report or whatever it is, a loss run. So somebody grab that attachment and drag it up there.
Go ahead, Michelle, you try it.
Okay? Now here's your description box. This is where you get a chance to edit the description. So if you say okay, that's the only description you're going to have. This is where you would come in and have that standard naming mechanism.
You can just leave it
Okay?
at that, right?
So we might say CPP. So I would just say CPP, and this is a signed app. Okay? Something like that. And so now this is a policy log that if you want to write chapter and verse about this attachment. Otherwise, just cancel it. Now, with all that said, we can now view existing items. We dragged and dropped an email, and then we dragged and dropped an attachment from an email. See the difference? An email can be forwarded or replied to, just like a regular email. And the reply or the forward would be retained in the system. But with an attachment, you gain one more ability. If it's attached to a policy, you can go to batch print in automated procedures. And you have the ability to grab multiple things, the Accord apps, invoices, all sorts of things, and bundle them together. You can bundle them together and email them out. So if it's an attachment, it can be bundled together. If it's an email, it can only be forwarded or replied to, one at a time. So do you see the difference?
Yeah.
Did that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
So that's something that you can practice. So, you know, when you get the videos, it will show you how to set up a client, a contact, and a policy. You can practice on that. You can practice on navigation. You can look at your current data. My suggestion is whatever you do one day a week, every day, whatever you do in your system, come over here and do the same thing in agency systems. If you endorse a policy, come over here and endorse a policy. If you create a follow-up, come over here and create a follow-up. If you do an attachment, attach it in here also, so that you get the feel for the new workflows. Because if you try to, I had a friend one time, and she was, they were going to, her work was going to teach her how to do Spanish, speak Spanish, and she went to all kind of classes to learn to speak Spanish. And finally the teacher said, look, you've just got to learn the words. You can't keep, you know, transposing it in your head like CASA, C-A-S-A, equals house or home. You can't do that. You've just got to learn that CASA means a certain thing, and it's home. So you can't interpret and say, well, this is what our old system did. How do I do the same thing in agency systems? It'll drive you nuts. So what you need to learn is the new system. This is how it works. This is how I'm going to attach things. This is how I'm going to manage my email. This is how I'm going to manage my drivers and vehicles and equipment. This is how I'm going to create real letters, not just those little memo-looking letters in Instar and stuff, real Word document kind of quality letters that can have an electronic letterhead, or you can print it on letterhead. And all the emails and memos and everything are here, and it's attached to the policy also, along with attachments. So drag and drop works, emails work, but this is one workflow that I thought was really, really cool. I taught this to an agency up in Tennessee. Client calls in, they need to make a change, and you need to document it. And they had created and printed up all these pads to document certain things. They had if you did an auto change, you got out the auto change pad, and if you did a property change, you got out another pad, and you had to write it all down. Then you had to scan it in, and then you had to document it here and there and everywhere. And there was 15 steps to do what I showed them you could do in one fell swoop. So you can take this for what it's worth. Client calls in. Here's the policy. Click on the policy. Is it something I'm going to have to follow up on? Okay. Then I create a suspense. Is it an endorsement? Yep, it's an endorsement request. So Danny's going to create things like this. It's going to say an endorsement request. She will have to do this post live. So this is an endorsement request. So start out like this. It's on a personal auto policy. She'll set up all those. And then we can say that this is whatever it is, PAP, effective 11/25/12, add. Let's make it interesting. Okay. You want one of those, don't you, for Christmas?
I would love one of those.
We have a BMW plant here. It's only like 10 or 12 miles away. I keep trying to go to the outlet. I find the door to the outlet or the second. Surely to goodness they got dings or something in one of those things, and they put it as a second. But
sure, you take one with a scratch.
Ma'am?
You take one with a scratch, wouldn't you?
Amen. Yes, I would. And so you could say, who called, what I did, etc. Okay? And then this is the follow-up date. So you could follow up on your download or whatever it is if you're waiting for the policy or the endorsement itself. So this is doing it all. And then if this company had these emails set up, you could send this email right to the client from here. All you'd have to do is put the name of the client. Okay? And then out the door it goes. You could even send it a confirmation to the insured. The agency, one of the agencies that I worked for required us to send all confirmations to the client. So you could actually send something to the contact here. So you could actually confirm that to the client if she had an email in the contacts. So that's real important. To get those contacts, emails, company, everybody needs a title, all of that stuff. And so you can do everything from right here. You can send the email to tell the company. You can confirm it with the client and so forth. And then when you save it, you're done. Even if you didn't send an email to the underwriter, you could save this, and there's your follow-up. Then you could go to Policy View and do your change because it's going to log you in. or take you to the website, and you could do your change there. Is that a pretty good deal?
Mm-hmm.
That would cut down considerably on little Post-it notes and things sticking around if you just come in and start with the suspense to begin with. Once and done. You know, Travelers went through an episode about 10, 12 years ago. They called it once and done. So they required their underwriters to do just exactly what we're doing here. They would click on things and do it efficiently so that they could gain lots and lots of time to do other things that were more beneficial to travelers. And so you can do things that are more beneficial to your agency than, you know, stepping through things inefficiently. So once and done works. Okay, so do you have any questions about attaching, email, diaries, or letter/memos?
I don't have any right now. I'm sure as we get in there and work with it, we'll come up with some.
Okay. Danny, I wanted to tell you something that I did today. I went in and created an option where you can actually check and run activity reports. So from this day forward, anybody that does anything in the system, you will be able to see if they're practicing.
Okay.
So you could say, I want to see who's practicing next week, and you can do it by operator. And when you preview this, it would give you this list, and it would tell you who the operator is and what they've done.
Okay.
So at this point, we need to start encouraging people pretty seriously to get into the system and test the system, because that's where you're going to gain your success.
Okay.
So I will try to download the videos so you can share those. Push those texts to get everybody so that they can log in, and your folks should have my email address and my phone number, so that as they practice, if they come across something that they don't understand, or they've watched the video and I didn't make any sense, which is, you know, a problem sometimes. I try to be fairly clear, but, you know, sometimes I don't explain it exactly right. So if I've not clarified something, or you need clarification, or just need some help on any area, just email me or call me. And if I'm not busy, I will get right back to you.
Okay, that sounds good. And I saw while we were in the email, I got an email from the TAC, one of the head guys there. So I'll see what he has to say and try to get you guys over there in Trenton on this server as quick as I can, hopefully by the end of the day.
Okay. That would be fabulous. That would be fabulous.
And then, you know, if you guys have a question, like Melaine said, call her, or if it's something quick and she's not available, call me, and if I know how to do it, I'll show you how to do it. Yeah,
we're all here for the same purpose. I mean, it's to get everybody comfortable with the system, because it really is different than what you're used to.
And I will start checking your guys' data later this afternoon, and once you get when you log in, you're going to see all your clients, not mine. So you'll have them to practice on.
All right.
Yep, that's right. Okay, does anything come to mind, any questions at all from anyone? It doesn't matter what part of the system.
We don't know yet, because this is our first interaction with this system. So I guess we just feel completely lost at this point. I think for me it's just going to take getting in there and looking at it myself.
Well, you know, I tell people all the time that you can read how to garden. You can get all these beautiful seed catalogs and you can read about how to garden. But until you get that hoe out there, that shovel, and you turn the soil and you get your hands a little dirty and put the seeds in the ground and water it and fertilize it and watch it grow and pull the weeds, you're not going to learn how to garden, are you?
That's right.
You're exactly right. It's that hands-on that's going to give you that that success story. So I really appreciate your time today. I understand it's your first blush. I will download those videos as fast as I can from the other training sessions, and you can watch those. And like I said, if you get stuck on something, just email me or call me, and I'll be there.
Okay, thank you.
We certainly appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Melaine.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.